Today in the foothills of Appalachia, I'm going to be making some soup beans and cornbread. I've been wanting some for a week or two now, just been busy and haven't had time to do it. But today I'm going to make a big batch. Hopefully it's going to last a couple of days. That's generally how I like to cook. I like to find something I can make a big portion of and it'll last me and my husband and my son for a couple of days. And we like leftovers, so that just helps us out on both ends. So let's get started. I've got my Instapot over here because I want to make them kind of quick today because I want them for lunch for one thing, and then I have something I got to do this afternoon, and that way that supper will be ready when my husband and my son get home from work. I'm going to do about 2 cups of pinto beans today. That way, like I said, I'll be able to have leftovers hopefully for my lunch today and for my husband and son to have for supper tonight, and maybe they can have it for supper again tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes because they like to eat and they're big eaters. But I've already washed my beans. I've already looked them over and made sure there was no bad beans or tiny rocks or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in my Instapot. For my seasoning, I'm going to be using some salt pork. I'm going to put 2 in this time because I am making a larger batch than I normally would just for if I were making it for a one night supper. I'm going to go ahead and add my water. I'm going to use quite a bit of water because I like mine really soupy. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil in here. Alright. I'm not going to add any more salt or anything like that until I see how they taste when they're finished, and then we'll adjust then because that salt pork has a lot of salt in it already, and that's going to give it some flavor. But I'm going to go ahead and put them in the Instapot. Get it going. Now, I don't know how you like yours, but I like mine really mushy and soupy. So I'm going to pressure mine. We're going to start out at about 45 minutes. And then we'll let them natural release, and then we'll check them. While my soup beans are making, I'm going to go ahead and put on a pan of cornbread. I know that's not the best camera angle, but we're still learning how to do this, and I'm not even sure I have it set up right. I know the lighting's probably terrible, but we'll get there. But I'm going to go ahead and make our cornbread. I probably got around 3 cups or so of self-rising cornmeal mix. I'm going to use, I always put an egg in mine. You may not, but I like to put an egg in mine. It seems like if I don't, then it seems to fall apart more easily. And I use sweet milk in my cornbread. You may use buttermilk or something else, but this is what I use, and I'm probably going to use about a cup right now to mix it up and see how it looks. My mama was the best cornbread maker in my opinion. I always loved her cornbread. It always just seemed to always turn out perfect, and it's a little bit thick. I'll add a little bit more milk. Her crust was always just so yummy. I do have the oven preheating on 450 right now, and I have my cast iron skillet in there that I have put about probably 2 teaspoons of bacon grease in the iron skillet, and I put it in the oven and it's getting hot. When I was learning to make cornbread when I was younger, my mom always said to mix it up where it was about like cake batter, so it would just pour into your pan. I think I might add just a little bit of water. I remember one time I was cooking for her. She's passed away now about 7 years, and she had battled with breast cancer. And I moved in with her to take care of her for about 18 months. And that's just time I'm thankful that I had to devote to her and give to her and take care of her, where she didn't have to rely on strangers to take care of her. We were just very blessed that I was able to do that. And I'm thankful that I had that opportunity to spend so much time with her before she passed. But anyway, I made a lot of her meals, and she always said, I just want rough grub. I want just beans and taters, gravy biscuits, things that I was raised on. She said, that's just what I crave and that's what I like the best. But anyway, I was making cornbread for her, and she used buttermilk in her cornbread. And so I made it like I thought she wanted, and I couldn't get it to about like this for her, so I kept adding the buttermilk, and stirring it up, mixing it up, getting it about like this. And I didn't add anything else but just the buttermilk for her. I didn't add any fat in this, did I, while I'm sitting busy talking? I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Some people use other kinds of oil. I'm a big olive oil fan. I don't think it affects the taste. Doesn't change the taste much for me. Now, my mama used Crisco. That's what she used. I get busy talking and forget what I'm doing. She was a big Crisco fan, but anyway, I got hers mixed up and put it in the oven and baked it, and she took one bite and she said, oh, you got too much buttermilk in that cornbread. And she was right, it tasted way too buttermilky. I should have added some water or sweet milk or something else, I guess. I don't know. But then I did learn a lot by staying with her for those 18 months, cooking for her old-time ways of how she cooked. She was born and raised near Knoxville, Tennessee. And my father was born and raised up near Copper Hill, Tennessee. So there's a lot of mountain cooking roots from where I came from. And I'm so thankful I got to learn some of that from her before she passed away. So anyway, I think I've got it good. I'm going to pause it and get my pan out of the oven. Alright, so I've had my cast iron skillet in the oven getting warm. So I put about 2 teaspoons of bacon grease in there. I think maybe my cornbread will be done about the time that my pinto beans get done. I got my oven on the way to being preheated to 450. Hasn't quite made it there yet, but it will in just a few minutes. So I'm going to let that go ahead and bake. And that was my mother's cast iron pan that when she passed away, I brought it home with me because I have so many fond memories of her baking her cornbread in that cast iron skillet. So my soup beans and my cornbread are finally done. I was just too tempted when it came out of the oven. I had to go ahead and have a slice. I cut me a piece, put it on a saucer, sliced it open, stuck me some little pieces of butter in there, let that melt, and so I went ahead and had a slice of the cornbread. It was really yummy. So I'm going to go ahead and slice me a small piece here for my pinto beans. I don't know how you like to have yours, but I like to have mine just like this. put my cornbread in my soup bean bowl. Like I said, I really like mine to be very soupy. I did have to add a little bit of salt when I pulled it out and tested it, of the pinto beans. But that's to your own personal preference, I guess, of how salty you would like yours. Oops, make a mess. All I like now is a big old glass of cold sweet tea. I appreciate y'all watching the video. It's really hot. I'm going to try a bite. Tastes really good. Tastes just like I wanted it to. I really love comfort foods. I really love foods that I was raised on. Just simple country cooking. Y'all have a good day, and thank you for joining me.